Why is it so rare that a hurricane heads towards the west coast? I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Matt Standridge. This normally does not happen. We've got Hurricane Hilary sitting out here at Category 4 storm. Very powerful cyclone as it's moving to the west-northwest right now, coming in closer to the Baja California, and then eventually you see the path. California, Nevada, and even into Oregon. That doesn't typically happen. Why? A couple different atmospheric things at play. First, we've got water temperatures. And we also have the upper level atmosphere where high pressure sits, where it tries to maybe block, or maybe we have some wind coming in to try to tear apart a thunderstorm, or especially and specifically a hurricane. Let's start off with the current water temperatures. So normally not this color, normally blue on the map. We went ahead and put the sea surface temperatures. What does it register with a thermometer? Right there at the top of the ocean. Just so you know, 80 degrees, that's the magic number in order to sustain or grow a hurricane. Once you go below 80 degrees for that surface water temperature, you start to weaken a hurricane. Right where Hilary is sitting, we're sitting in some nice water, mid and upper 80s, sometimes even getting close to 90 degrees as you get closer to Mexico. But look where this storm goes. It heads farther north and you start running into some colder water. In the eastern Pacific, we have this current coming in from Alaska, down the coast of Canada, and down the U.S. coast as well. If you've been to the beaches in California, a lot colder than the beaches over in the Gulf Coast and even the East Coast. And so this protects the West Coast from getting these hurricanes. Look where it also stays pretty warm. There's Hawaii. So when you're talking about Pacific hurricanes, at least in the eastern Pacific, it is very common for them to start to form here just southwest of Mexico. And a lot of times they do move more northwest because we've got this system where you got winds kind of pushing the storms out back off towards the west. You got this high pressure system normally. We're going to talk about why this high pressure system has moved and why it's allowing the storm to move more directly north, because this is not a normal track for hurricanes or for any kind of tropical system. So they generally move off to the west, but you still get into some cooler water. Once you see these orange colors, you're starting to go below 80 degrees. Once you start getting some of the yellow colors, and even green colors, you're talking about 60s. That's really cool from a hurricane's perspective. So when these hurricanes head back west towards Hawaii, they do weaken quite a bit. A lot of times we get a lot of remnants coming into Hawaii, so that is common. But what is not common is this thing to come directly to the north. Notice how quickly the hurricane will dissolve and break up and weaken as it comes up the northern coast. So very rare for this to happen. But we're going to take a closer look at the jet stream here in a moment. But let's take a closer look at the storm specifically. Let's zoom in and kind of analyze it. Nice eye wall. Look over the past couple of hours, really centralized. You can kind of see a couple of those little bands. Now they're really kind of formed right into the eye wall itself. You're also looking at the thunderstorm tops. These are showing cloud temperatures. When you're seeing this kind of almost black and even a little bit of purplish pink, those are some really cold temperatures, very strong thunderstorms, pretty much evenly distributed around the eye. That shows a very healthy storm. And this is a Cat 4. If you wanted to get this a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit more warm water, but then we've got a little bit of maybe some dry air trying to work in just a little bit on the north side, but otherwise very healthy system. But look where it's going to go. Within the next 12 hours or so, this is being recorded Friday evening, this storm will weaken, and it'll continue to weaken in some of these cooler waters. So let's take a look at some of the more data. 130, that's what we're sustained at. We've got gusts over 160, but the sustained winds is what categorizes a hurricane. We're at 130, moving northwest at 12 miles per hour. We got this island that we're pretty close to, but from Mexico, at least from Cabo's about here, we're about 250 miles away. So this will continue to move north, and then the path takes us right towards Baja California. That's that northwestern state of Mexico. And then here's California. Here's the U.S. Went ahead and highlighted the U.S. in a lighter color, so the difference between Mexico and California going to be a lot weaker. Got a lot of colder water. And also we have this high pressure system, but it's not helping to actually break up the storm. It's actually carrying it directly to the north. We'll take a closer look at that in a moment. Here's the path. About to be a Category 1. You see the time, Sunday morning, right before lunchtime, 75-mile-per-hour winds. The question is, how far away from the coast is it going to be, or is it going to hit land somewhere in the Baja California? That'll change the storm a little bit, because if this storm comes in, hits right next to the coast or goes over some of these mountains, it'll really start to rip up the storm. We're still going to get, no matter what, a lot of rain headed towards Southern California, probably even parts of Arizona and then Nevada and towards the Great Basin, which is a very dry area of the United States. A lot of rain headed north. But if this thing moves a little bit farther westbound, maybe the western side of this cone, that'll keep it in more open water. We still have colder water, so it still means the storm is going to be weakening. But if the storm can hang out just a little bit farther west, it could be able to make a direct landfall in California the first time since 1939. That's 84 years ago. If this thing comes to California, the Baja California first, and Mexico right here, it'll rip it up, and then technically we won't have a landfall in California, but we will get a lot of rainfall and a lot of wind coming in. Huge impacts likely all the way from Los Angeles, from San Diego, northbound right through Death Valley, and even into Nevada. This is a very dry part of Nevada. You go east of Reno, not a lot happens here because you got the mountains, these Sierra Nevadas right here back off towards the west, kind of blocking these systems from coming in normally. So a lot of heavy rain headed into some of the driest parts of the U.S. Let's take a closer look at the system. I think the rain starts to come in by Saturday afternoon and evening, and then it's going to be a steady stream as this hurricane just blows in lots of moisture right to California. The heaviest rain is likely going to be Sunday afternoon and evening, probably officially making landfall late Sunday night, early Monday morning. Rain wraps up pretty quickly over time, and then it shoots north. But we're talking about several inches of rain coming in to California and Nevada. This is just one kind of model run that we're looking at. You see some of these individual towns we're picking up an inch or two, maybe even close to 3 inches. But the heaviest rain is going to be in some of these desert valleys. So, for example, you've got Death Valley right about here where we could pick up 3, 4, 5 inches. And then what the models have a hard time depicting is we've got these mountain ranges just outside of Los Angeles that could also pick up 3 or 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. And that's where we're going to get a ton of mudslides. But this is some serious rain even headed just to LA in general. So put this in perspective, last time this happened was the Long Beach tropical storm. 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming in 1939. There was not even a weather bureau in LA. That was built a couple months later because the government decided, hey, we're going to have to monitor these systems because almost 100 people died with this storm, about 50-50 onshore, 50-50 back out towards the ocean on some of the vessels outside of LA. So pretty kind of history-changing storm with that one. But the reason why it's coming in is because high pressure has moved off to the east, and that's allowing this system to hit this highway, this jet stream, to carry it directly to the north. Normally we don't have this orientation. In fact, a lot of times we have a jet stream more towards the northwest, so there's nothing to help kind of direct it towards California. It's got to go where the warmer water is, so it goes back off towards the west, towards Hawaii. This time it's being forced up because our high pressure is so strong in the central United States, it's being drugged just up the Pacific seaboard, headed right into LA and Las Vegas.